Tesla stock is struggling. It is up, it is down, it is down again. I am just so worried. And whenever I get this upset, I need comfort from my emotional support, Herbert, who is here to talk me back from the ledge. Sometimes I'm the one pushing him to the ledge. At least he says, you're pushing it, Brian, you're pushing it. But that's fine. I'm Brian. Welcome to Future Oza. So, Herbert, we do have concerns. I know I get a lot of comments from very concerned people who, when you look at their comment history, have never commented on the channel before, or have only commented negative things and then show up one day to say, you know what, I'm going to sell all my stock. My brother in Christ, you don't own a single share. I know that for a fact. So were you lying then or lying? But these are concerns that some people have. I do have people that I know that have been on my channel before who've reached out to me and said, give me some hope here, because because one gentleman has been trading on margin, on a strategy I never advised because I do not know anything about it, and I've seen too many disasters. A small dip can be catastrophic. So I'm going to give you some points, and you're going to tell me what the heck is going on. I mean, we'll start with a super easy one. Sales are down. Sales are down. Too soon to know, right?
Sales are down. We only have 1 month, January, right? Now, when you see that, I think there's some truth to that, because sales are down for all the cars out there, not just Tesla. The incentives have been removed. Those things are, they're going through economic turmoil. So I could believe that sales are down. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, but it's not necessarily just Tesla.
Yes. And the fact that you've got 4 factories retooling and zero deliveries of zero deliveries of the newly refreshed Model Y. They're holding on to those until March. They're stockpiling them. So that is going to create some
typical cycle of auto sales, slower in January and February.
Yep. Yes. And Chinese New Year happened in January instead of February this year. That's going to make a difference. So I'm not as worried about that. You've got great stuff like this. We've got this analyst saying, well, the fair stock value is $210. This is from TipRanks, Seth Goldstein, who I looked up on TipRanks. He's not listed. So that's
So if you go up a little bit and see what he's saying here about DeepSeek, the launch of DeepSeek. We're going to take a look at where Tesla stands against other AI stocks amid the DeepSeek impact. What is the DeepSeek impact? So this is this Databricks CEO, Ali said that DeepSeek will result in distillation, where companies will make smaller, more efficient models based on the technology. So what is the DeepSeek impact? So what we found out at this point, after the first week of everybody blowing up and getting crazy, is, actually, yes, they do have 50,000 H100 NVIDIA chips. They said that they only use $6 million. That was absolutely not true. But did they create, new advancements and be able to use smaller form factors for the processing? Yeah. Guess who's going to benefit from that? Tesla and all the other AI companies. So I'm not quite sure that this DeepSeek thing was such a big thing that all of a sudden all the AI companies are in big trouble now.
I would agree with you. And it is entirely possible that next week DeepSeek will be unseated by someone else. And there are companies that have already claimed that they have done it. Chinese competition generally, is that a reason to worry about the Tesla stock story?
As in car companies?
As car companies, yes.
Car companies, yeah. So it's a complicated answer, of course, right? So Chinese car companies are doing very, very well. There was hundreds of them formed, hundreds have died. It's like a bloodbath in China, but they've won the game, right? EVs are now over 50% of all new cars sold, or any new electric vehicles, including hybrids. They're trying to go global. Now, whether or not they'll make that, impact is going to be huge or not, it still remains to be seen. But make no mistakes about it. They have created factories across the world. And the only places they haven't broken into yet is the US, and they're starting to add factories in Europe. And we'll see how that's being taken care of. But, the question of whether or not they can truly go global is what you need to have in order to have real lower margins. Do these guys have quality cars? I think the quality is improving over time. Are they profitable? that one is really, really up in the air right now. We just discovered that BYD, from this independent accounting firm in Singapore, discovered that they're actually $44 billion in debt, not what they've been saying at all. And the reason is that they hid that debt in the supply chain financing. And they slowing down how much they pay these guys. In 2023, it was almost 9 months before they actually pay them. And it might be growing. And then there was this demand letter that they sent out to the suppliers asking them to please reduce prices by 10%. They're in dire straits at this point, and it's a lot of it's hidden because it's propped probably by the government, maybe even propping up all the suppliers. So I'm not saying that these guys will fall or they'll fail, but it's not like they're as powerful as people are saying that they are. And of course, all this tariff restrictions, the ability to build, to be able to sell into the US, that's being held off at this point. So, is Tesla being affected by Chinese competitors? Not that we see at this point. In China itself, Tesla cars are still the number one best-selling vehicle in China. It's still demand is high. You saw the new Model Y being released in China, and it was packed. And I think the rumors are that 150,000 sales already have happened of the new revised Model Y in the first several weeks. So at this point, it's looking like that there's, everything's still very much going in Tesla's way in China.
There was a Bloomberg report the other day showing that in many markets around the world, Chinese brands are surging ahead while Tesla is down 17% or something like that. But then you look at the real numbers, the hard numbers, the actual units moved, and all of the markets combined was like 3,000 units.
Yeah,
that is a very small sample size. It's
don't
like
look
when
at percentages. Yeah,
it's like when GM had increased sales of the Hummer by 300%. Wow, you sold 6 cars. That's amazing.
Yes, exactly.
And that is, I think it's reasonable to say that in the US, at least, Tesla has nothing to fear from Chinese brands due to protectionist policies. I would say it's fair to say that while Tesla has real, serious competition in China, they are still on very good footing, and we are not seeing signs of weakness there. Tesla is still a very well-regarded brand, and while companies like BYD, I saw an article that I've got coverage of coming up in a few days, probably, I don't know, I've already recorded it, where a reviewer said, I'm going to compare the BYD Seal and the Model 3 head to head. And and in the review, it's like, you know what? This BYD is a fantastic car. I give it 7 out of 10. And I'm like, yeah, what'd you give the Tesla? Oh, 10. 10 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10 car. This BYD is fantastic. It's only 30% worse than a Tesla. And it's like, that still is good praise.
I want to share something I've been saying for a while, but I've not heard a lot of people say this, which is, you asked the question, is Tesla, should we be concerned as Tesla investors of the Chinese competition? Why don't you flip it around? What happens when Tesla releases these more affordable vehicles in China?
And what if the third factory is a car factory making those?
Yeah. But even if they don't, let's just say release these new, more affordable vehicles in China. So you got the Tesla Model Y in the number one sales. And when you look at these sales and volumes of, BYD is selling, that they don't cross each other in terms of, the bands of segments of how much money people are paying, right? We're talking about $15,000 cars and $5,000 BYDs. Selling like in volume. They sell these, farm trucks and those kind of things. They're garbage trucks, right? But if you add now the actual Tesla Model 3 and then do 2 other models below that, what happens to some of these Chinese competitors? I think that's the opposite, right? Tesla will continue to dominate and grow, and by the way, somebody pointed this out. I think it was Jeff Lutz. Was it you maybe? The margin, it
was me on the Wuling Mini.
You've been saying that the margin that Tesla makes on selling a Model Y in China is the same as the entire price that
of a Wuling Mini.
BYD would sell
not BYD. BYD's but Wuling for sure. But BYD has cars all the way down to $8,000-9,000-ish, and other brands go much lower, and yet Model Y still outsells them. One bit of feedback I got from viewers was that in China, Tesla is viewed more like a Volvo kind of brand.
Mhm,
It's something you would definitely want your parents to have.
mhm.
It's not the most exciting brand, but it is very highly regarded and reliable, which is all helpful. Next bit we gotta cover is, and I should just mention that BYD is bringing their full autonomy suite to cars, and I
Yeah.
don't think this is to add value. I think this is to gather data to train their own network. And am I worried about that? I would say it is entirely possible that Tesla's FSD and BYD and all Chinese autonomy will exist in different worlds with very little overlap. There will be markets, maybe Brazil or anywhere in Africa, where both systems would be approved eventually. But I think in a lot of Western countries, it will not be, Chinese systems will not be welcome. And in China, a Tesla system will not be welcome, at least not yet. So I don't see this as a downside.
No, not right now. So if you listen very, very carefully to what they actually announced, BYD announced that they're creating a new autonomous ADAS system that's called God's Eye. There's three trims, right? A, B, and C.
Mhm.
A is for the premium brand, B is like the middle brand, and the C is the low cost brand. And they will the C low cost will just be ADAS. Really, all it is like the ability to do autopilot on highways or the ability to have advanced, just drive like what is that emergency braking, right?
Mhm.
Automatic emergency braking, which they don't even have. And these are just standard features that they know that they have to offer now, and so they're now having to put in these sensors, cameras, and then B and C, sorry, A and B, which is the higher end, they will have lidar in them. So at this point, this is not a competitor to FSD. Until you start hearing them talk about neural networks and supercomputers, they'll say things like this, like, "Oh, I've got a cloud compute and I've got the most amount of videos." But until you actually see it, it's not something I'm concerned about at this point. What I see this is an advanced ADAS. Now, will they improve? Yes, they will. Will they get as good as say Huawei? Yes, they will. But it will take them years. And then will Huawei, and that's a whole nother show that we can do, whether or not they truly are a competitor to Tesla's FSD. And what they've shown is a fantastic demo of a ride in a city, which we've been seeing with FSD for years. And it's just, you got to understand the difference between them. Do you believe that neural nets is important? Do you believe that data is important and supercomputer is important? If you do, in order to get to true robo taxi, sleeping in the car, 10 times, 20 times safer than the human, then Tesla's way ahead. If somehow you think that they can do this with LiDARs, which Huawei only switched to neural nets, they're still using LiDAR, by the way. And then they're switching to neural nets just in August of last year. So they're doing it, but they're not unlikely that they're there.
There's things you need and you can't get by without them. You need the hardware, you need the software, you need the training data, but then you need the algorithm that runs it, and you need all four. You can build a table with only 3 legs and you can do a demo of that table that looks really good. But if you try and use that table in the real world, it's going to fail spectacularly. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of these companies. They've got a lot of the pieces, but not all of them. Last thing I wanted to ask, Cybertruck, Herbert, we're done, right? We're cooked. We're it's over. I just saw that Tesla reduced the price $7,500 at the point of sale. That's the federal credit, my friends. That's not that's free money. That's so Cybertruck, are you in any way worried about flagging demand?
Not at all. Not one bit at all. So we're talking about Foundation Series, $100,000 cars. They are trying to get that out and sold as much as possible. So if when you hear any kind of incentives, disincentives, or incentives, and you're trying to sell things, there's inventory, right, that they're trying to release. But they're also trying to move away from the selling the highest priced cars over 100,000 and bring it down to 80,000. And then now there's going to be the rear wheel drive Cybertruck that's going to be sent out even more affordable than that. So no, the Cybertruck is in many ways considered to be the best vehicle ever made. Number one, the demand is through the roof. It's like very, very successful. It's people will say whatever they want to say about it. There's no doubt that there's people who hate it right? But you don't
Mhm.
need to have 100% of people loving it, right? It's always like, in fact, there's this great brand statement that people made. The worst thing you can do is create a generic, run of the mill, big, like a very, you can't even tell this is anything different than any car.
Mhm.
What you want to do is make a statement. So there's these cars that are just completely boxy, you know,
Mhm.
or the Bug, the Volkswagen Bug. Some people hate the Bug, the Volkswagen Bug, but it's a huge seller because some people felt the little, love so cute. I love it. I want a cute car with the big eyes. You know, lots of people will hate it, but there's so many more people who just absolutely love it.
I don't
And that's
remember if
enough.
it was the PT Cruiser, but I want to say
Mm-hmm.
it was the PT Cruiser where they brought it to an auto show and they got the numbers back on viewer people feedback from the
Mm-hmm.
public, and they said, oh, it's got like a 60% unfavorable rate. We're
Yeah.
never going to build this. And they looked at it and said, no, you're missing it. It's got a 25% I love it more than
Love it.
anything rate. That
Yes.
means we are definitely building it.
It's
And it
huge
sold like
sales.
crazy. It was a Dodge
Yeah.
Neon in a different shape. It was a terrible car, but
Yeah.
people loved it. My brother bought one and paid too much.
Yeah.
And not just because he bought it. Anyone who bought it paid too much, in my opinion. But I'm obviously not in that 25% who just loves it. And the last thing, and I do have to address it, is the erratic behavior. Is that a headwind for the stock?
Sorry. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's a hard call. I have no idea how much it is impacting because you can argue both ways. Whether or not you certainly do have investors who say this has cost my moral compass. I got to get out of the stock. That is absolutely happening. But are you then getting the other side? People wanting to buy. Is it big enough? So I don't think that that's what's necessarily driving it completely. It's a combination of all sorts of things. As you and I know, you and I both agree, we don't know. I can anybody tell you what this is why a stock fell or why it's going up? It was exuberant, hit at 480 in December, late December, hit its all-time high, and then
Well, forget
now
the
it's
stock
fallen.
price. Tell me about the business model. Uh, so I would argue that there are definitely sales that will be lost because of this.
Yeah.
I've seen a number of people who said, yes, but there will also be sales gained because of this. And I
Mhm.
believe that. I haven't seen it in the data yet. That doesn't mean it's not there. It just means I haven't seen it. But to me, it's a business case moving forward, and businesses make business decisions, not emotional decisions. We're talking cybercab, we're talking whole fleets of robotaxis, we're talking mega packs. Those are business decisions that are made isolated from emotion and feelings. Would you agree or disagree?
Oh, hugely agree with that. That's exactly the point, right? Okay, let's assume that you're right. Vehicle sales are falling. How does that compare? The vehicle sales falling, even if it's all true, okay? How does that compare to this new invention of robo taxi that's going to generate the largest market of any product that's ever been made? And then following that is the bot, which is even bigger than everything that's ever been made. It's just unbelievable. So this is minuscule what we're seeing today compared to what's about to happen when if these inventions truly come out and disrupt.
If these things happen the way you and I and a number of people expect them to, even if the world were to get to a 50% despise you rate,
Yeah.
now you're down to 4 billion customers. So I am not worried. My friends out there who are trading short term, I do not have advice. I never have advice for that. It is not something I'm good at. When I first got into the stock, I considered trading in and out to maximize my gains because I know things you don't, but I don't. I don't. Even when
Mhm.
I'm very, very good on what the production and delivery numbers are going to be, I have no idea which direction that's going to move the stock. And so short term, I just view short term trading as gambling. That's my personal opinion. And long term trading is investing because I have a pretty good idea what's coming on the 5 year and 10 year horizon, but I
Yeah.
can't predict a quarter out.
Yep. Same here.
Very good. Very good. I feel a little better. You have talked me down once again. Uh, you should probably, I don't know, just invest in a permanent A Foxconn safety net is what I need. Guys, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Head over to Herbert's channel, see what he's up to. I am on a quest to hit 100,000 subscribers this year. I only need about 100 subscribers a day. Help me out, won't you? If you're already watching this, you're not subscribed, I feel like you're cheating the system. So we got to work on that. Everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop.